So in this project of becoming the people we aspire to be, I think one of the most useful accelerants towards that place is getting very clear language around your core values in life. Core values, as distinct from goals, right? I think of goals as like destinations on a map. And I think of core values as like a cardinal direction. You can go from point A to point B, you can work hard and achieve a goal, but once you get there, what do? Do you turn around and go home? Is the trip over? Instead, if it's more of a project of heading due north all the time, you can do that every day, right? On a road trip, that's not as sustainable, but in this project of living a human life, you don't want to feel stuck, stymied in one place. You want to feel like you're progressing all the time. And I think finding clear, precise language for your core values is the best way to do that. So when I was in graduate school, I was trained in this particular exercise that you can do at home. And it's all in service of getting the most descriptive terminology possible around what matters most to you. So you can explain it to yourself, and you can explain it to anyone who you share your life with. And these clarifications can help you be discerning about what to choose when you have options for how to move forward through time. You could spend an hour of free time doing something that aligns with your core values, and this exercise will help you make those choices. You could also use this exercise when it's time to pick a career, or pick somebody to marry, or decide that marriage is not part of your life trajectory, or career is not what you want to be about. Like, knowing these things about yourself with really precise, unambiguous language is going to help resolve conflicts, resolve disputes, and resolve ambiguity. So there's some amount of arts and crafts that you'll have to do. You're going to have to Google the terms values, cards, exercise, PDF. The first option from motivationalinterviewing.org is going to give you like 11-page PDF. It's a grid with all these little cards on it. So the arts and crafts comes in because you're going to have to print this PDF, get a pair of scissors, cut it up into the deck. It's better when it's tactile. Helps with decision making within the exercise when you can hold each individual card. You're gonna need a flat surface because I want you to lay this out in front of you and treat it like a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. Take your time with it, come and go as you need to. It'll feel easy at first, and it'll get increasingly difficult, more and more inner work as you go along. So what you're gonna find at the top of the deck are 3 category terms, column heads. You're gonna have very important to me, medium important to me, not important to me. Lay those out ahead of you, categories, and then you go through the deck. Each of these is a term identified by the researchers as potentially being a meaning of life, that the qualitative research they did to create this exercise yielded possible meaning of life. You go through each term and you organize them based on where you think these terms are supposed to go. You're basically going off vibes. The goal is to be maximally subjective. How this term makes you feel, that's where you put the category. And these are big concepts. They take some time. Things like intimacy, right? To share my innermost experiences with others. Things like nurturance, to take care of other people. Things like humor. Things like justice. Things like industry, to work hard and do well in my life tasks. Things like creativity. There are like 80 something of these. You got to take your time, deal them out based on where you think they're supposed to go. It'll be pretty easy to get like half the deck in the not important to me category. You could just set those aside. Don't need to deal with them again. The other half is going to be somewhere between very and kinda important to me. What you do is you keep dealing the deck out after you've emptied your hand. Wipe away the lower 2 categories, medium, not so, get rid of them. Pick up the very important to me, and then deal the deck out again, maybe take a break, come back tomorrow, treat it like a jigsaw puzzle, because you're going to need to exercise increasing levels of discernment as the exercise goes along. You're going to have to ask yourself, is this something that used to matter to me and doesn't anymore? Not like it used to. Is this something I wish mattered more to me, but honestly, it ain't it? Is this something I would be really embarrassed for other people to know matters so much to me? It takes some time and it takes some deep digging, so go slow. Also, some of these terms seem potentially related, and it'll be useful to differentiate between which word is the best encapsulation of your core value. The goal is to get to 5, right? The exercise is over when you've whittled it down to your top 5, a winner's podium. They don't need to be in order 1 through 5, there just need to be 5 of them. So it takes some time. In the differentiation project, you could look at a card like wealth and a card like safety. 2 paths to the same place in life, potentially. To have material resources can make you feel safe, and to work towards safety can yield material resources. It's going to be important for you to decide what the right word is, or something like growth, and then the word challenge. Is the goal to keep changing and growing, or is the goal to like meet challenges and contend with adversity? Fame or achievement. I don't know if you can see the similarities that I can see, but sometimes there are cards that seem like different routes to the same place, existentially speaking. So the exercise is over when you've identified your top 5 core values. And the other part of the exercise, what comes next once you get your top 5, is to make a sustainable practice of reading your list of 5 terms every day, because the human mind is slippery. We don't forget permanently. There's no delete button in the human mind. Everything we know and have ever learned is cataloged in there somewhere. We just might not recall it that efficiently, because we're always responding to necessity. Whatever's emergent, whatever's got to be done, we will concentrate on. Easy to forget these concepts, what we know to be true about where meaning comes to us from. We can forget it when we're doing things like moving, or like trying to get into grad school, or like trying to figure out if we should settle down with the person we're partnered with. It's easy to forget these things. It's helpful to be reminded of them. So reading the list every day is really crucial. And I've worked with folks who've done that in a lot of different ways. Some people take a picture of their top 5 cards and keep it as the lock screen on their phone. Some people will write it on like their bathroom mirror, so when they're getting ready to go out into the world in the morning, they see their list. Some people will put it at their bedside, so they read it upon waking or falling asleep. I worked with someone one time who had it displayed on the inside of their front door, so whenever they crossed the threshold from their space to the shared space, they saw the terms. It was at the top of mind. I personally have it as the lock screen on my phone, because I'm never going into my phone, never really, to do anything like that meaningful. It's usually something kind of distracting or temporary, and it's nice to just glance over my terms so that I can remember, there might be something more values congruent I could be doing with this time, instead of just like scrolling on social media. Unless something like social media ends up being in your core value system. One of these words is humor. That's in my top 5. And sometimes going on the internet is a great way to live in alignment with my core values. If I seek out things that are funny, or I try to make other people laugh, it's really up to you. Like, how you live your values is up to you. The big picture project here is to design the life you aspire to have, to become the person you aspire to be. An exercise from the School of Acceptance and Commitment Therapy, ACT, we call it ACT, is to imagine yourself on your 85th birthday, and then write like a speech that you would want to give, or you'd want a loved one to give about you on your 85th birthday, summarizing what your life has been about, the impact you've had on others, what you mean to them after you've lived 85 years. To really think through that exercise might put you pretty close to what terms you should select from this deck for your top 5. It's about being the author of your own future. Like Joe Strummer said, the future is unwritten. And these terms can be the kind of writing prompt for you write into existence the kind of life you aspire to have.